We can't see you as anyone else, because you did that one so well. Back in the day they had some trouble. And does he need to change careers? I've become so good at it that it's hard for people to see me doing anything else. Alfonso Ribeiro just told the truth about what happened between him and Tyler Perry. He's not the only one talking. He came to my room and made me an offer. He told her, "I don't need to touch you. I only need to see you." People have been wondering for more than 15 years why Alfonso, with all his skills and TV fame, has never been in a Tyler Perry movie or show. There was no cameo, guest appearance, or anything else. Didn't it seem strange? Fresh rumors about Perry are now beginning to spread. And now I understand why Alfonso was so quiet back then. Tyler Perry, an actor and director, sued for $260 million in claims. In a complaint made in Los Angeles, Perry is accused of making a relationship with actor Derek Dixon that is coercive and exploitative. It's not like Alfonso ever came out and blamed Perry. When you compare what he said years ago to what other stars say now, though, things start to look different. Things don't always stay quiet when they're closed. It can mean that you were stopped before you could speak. That being said, what was Alfonso really saying before the jokes, the reruns, and all of these new claims? In those days, Alfonso Ribeiro was everywhere. As Carlton Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he lit up American TV sets. It wasn't just that he was funny with his great timing and the Carlton dance that became a big hit, he was the show's comic anchor. Of course you might want to meet by yourself, but Alfonso's progress stopped when the show ended in 1996. Hollywood only wanted him to play Carlton. He stopped getting offers and directors only saw him as the nerdy preppy guy. They didn't see him as a serious actor who could lead a movie or accept bigger parts. It was rough. And Alfonso, who was still in his 20s, had to work hard to get his career going again after his most famous part ended. Trouble. Aside from Carlton, I've always thought that most people can't act better than him. Besides that, he had to work hard during the early 2000s, which were a rough time in Hollywood, because the business was changing quickly and not always in a good way. Big studios didn't care about talent or tradition, they wanted new faces that were on style. Behind the scenes, rumors were spreading that Hollywood has guards who lock doors. That's where Tyler Perry comes into the story. People who know Alfonso well say that he tried to join the growing black entertainment wave in the middle to late 2000s. He saw Tyler Perry Studios as his chance to change the course of his career. Perry was having a lot of success at the time. He had a lot of hits in theaters, loyal fans, and even bought his own studio in Atlanta, and being more creative than almost everyone else on black TV. After a while of being stuck in Hollywood, Alfonso was ready for a change. Perry's business looked like the place to go. That link, though, never happened. No one really understood why for years. While Alfonso didn't mention Perry by name, those who were paying close attention began to make connections, especially after Christian Keyes shared leaked texts that showed SES offers linked to getting cast and staying cast. There was just too much going on at once to ignore. There was no reason for Alfonso to stay quiet. As more people spoke out against forced labor being banned and shady power plays, Alfonso's old mysterious posts began to read like clear warnings. What did Alfonso and Perry really do? This time Alfonso isn't going to hold back. By the end of the 2000s, Tyler Perry wasn't just another movie director. He stood for a lot. He owned a multi-million-dollar studio built on old Confederate land and BT shows that were shown all over the country. He also had a tight grip on Black Hollywood, which made him the gatekeeper for players who felt shut out by the mainstream machine. But with so much power came questions, and the whispers turned into real talks. Alfonso, who used to be in charge of evening TV, is said to have tried to get close to Perry at this time. He wanted to change things about himself and get parts that would show he was more than just Carlton. It looked like a great match on paper. Perry was known for giving people a second chance, and Alfonso was ready to get to work. But people who worked for Perry said that it wasn't always about who had the most ability on her couch. It was a different game behind closed doors, and not everyone wanted to play. Christian Keys, an actor, dropped a bombshell in 2021 when he said in public that he got inappropriate propositions in exchange for parts. That he came to my room and gave me $100,000 to take off my clothes. He told her, "I just want to see you, I don't need to touch you." The table shook. People began to notice that Alfonso's social media tone changed around this time. Fans didn't know what was going on because his posts became more direct and his words became more vague. He wrote in a post that has since been removed, "Sometimes the audition is just a setup. Watch out for who's really there." In another he said, "I didn't come this far to give up my honor." He didn't say who it was, but after what Christian Keys said, people began to wonder if Alfonso was approached in the same rude way and chose to leave instead. People who back Tyler Perry say that his fame made him an easy target. They say the stars are angry about not getting enough attention or just looking for someone to blame. But some people are pointing out the clear trend. Several young, good-looking male actors have come forward with stories that sound a lot alike. They say they were pressured or iced out after turning down claimed advances related to getting the part. The things that happened to Mr. Dixon happened while he was a series regular on Tyler Perry's show The Oval. Perry had full power over his job, pay and creative freedom. It changes the whole story if even a small part of this toxic mindset was going on at Perry's studio. It would have been very rude for someone like Alfonso, who spent years keeping up a clean, family-friendly image, to give up his honor for a part. That's probably why we never saw him on a Tyler Perry show or in a guest role, even though he was famous from Fresh Prince. In the meantime, less well-known actors filled those parts while he stayed out of the way. Not getting the job can be the best sign that you've passed the real test. Something that had nothing to do with acting and everything to do with being honest. New information from the case keeps coming out, and it looks like Alfonso saw the game for what it really was a long time before anyone else did. Derek Dixon, an actor, filed a shocking lawsuit against Tyler Perry in Los Angeles Superior Court on June 15, 2025. The claim said Perry had done several bad things. A shocking $260 million in damages is being asked for in the case, which also describes a pattern of bad behavior that happened from 2019 to 2021 and will have effects until 2024. Big cases like the ones against Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey have already shaken up the industry. This claim is different because it's against one of the most powerful and untouchable black moguls in the business. Court documents say that, and Dixon met for the first time at the business event in 2019. Dixon was new to the business at the time, and didn't have any big titles yet. There are records that show Perry himself asked Dixon for his number and told him he wanted to help him get an acting job. He chose Mr. Dixon out of a crowd by hand. It says in the complaint that Perry told him he saw promise. Soon after, Dixon says Perry cast him in Ruthless, but people say that things went badly while or right after they worked on Ruthless. Dixon says that the complaint paints a picture of starting what he calls a hostile, one-sided relationship that is disguised as a mentoring relationship. Dixon says Perry asked him to his home in Atlanta when Ruthless wrapped, and that's where Dixon got drunk that night. Dixon says he asked to sleep in a guest room, but what happened next is very scary. The case says that Mr. Dixon led Mr. Perry into the guest room, where he touched Mr. Dixon on the legs. Dixon says he turned down Perry's approaches, but the unwanted attention didn't go away. Then he says Perry got into bed with him while he was sleeping and tried to start a sexual relationship. Dixon says that he tried to stay away from Perry, but he was offered a part on Perry's show, Oval. Dixon said that this was the first time Perry reportedly crossed physical lines. He thinks it set the stage for everything else that happened. Things are said to have gotten even worse by the time Dixon got a part in Perry's popular BET show The Oval. The studio lights, red carpets, and offers of a second chance are making these accusations public. They show what may really be going on behind closed doors. Dixon got the part of Dale on the Oval, but the claim says what happened behind the scenes is what people are talking about. Perry began to flirtatiously text and call Dixon, asking him personal questions about his likes and dislikes in dreams. Screenshots of these claimed texts have been shared all over X and in news stories from Reuters, the Associated Press and TMZ. They have made this already explosive case into a social media firestorm. But there's a catch. Text can be changed, faked, or taken out of context. Reuters said that some of these messages were included in the official court documents, which gave the claims more weight. "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless S?" was said to be in one letter. Is that line true? If so, it would support Dixon's claims of being forced. Messages seen by the Associated Press also show Perry telling Dixon, "No straight man would go for walks with you or cook dinner for you unless they wanted to F you. I'm going to F you." It was said that another message said, "I hope you let someone hold you and make love to you. Best years of your life are going by, my friend." TMZ shared more pictures that were going around on X. One of them said, "Feels so good, but I don't like being horny. I feel bad for the first person who flirts with me." These messages, which haven't been separately checked, paint a picture of a growing interest that was crossing all professional lines. Along with what Dixon says in his case, they make sense. What began as a guidance quickly turned into pressure and manipulation, turning a chance into a harmful power play. There are a lot of different opinions on social media right now. Some users think these texts are very bad, while others aren't sure if they're real. But court documents keep bringing attention back to the claims, no matter what side people are on. When you look at the court papers again, things get even worse. Perry is said to have choked Dixon in March 2020 during a private fight. He says Perry told him this. Dixon said Perry told him, quote, that he liked being choked. That was after one of Dixon's characters on the Oval was killed by another actor. Perry is also said to have asked, "Why do you twist your hips when you walk? How do I get Dixon for a day?" In the fall of that same year, Perry is accused of going into a trailer and touching Dixon on the set of the Oval. It's the most shocking claim that came out in June 2021 that everyone can't stop talking about. Dixon says Perry asked him to come back to his house in Atlanta, and while he was living in the guest house in his underwear, Perry came into his room to say goodnight. Dixon says Perry then gave him a hug, pulled down his underwear, grabbed his behind, and told him to calm down. Dixon says he changed the subject to try to calm things down, but by that time he felt stuck, not being able to run away. The claim says Perry made it very clear that Dixon would lose everything if he didn't listen to him. Dixon says Perry told him straight out, "Ignore me, and your character will die." That's big. The lawsuit also says Perry used possible projects as pressure by dangling them like bait. Dixon says Perry offered to help him make a TV show called Losing It that he had written. Perry is said to have wanted to pay for the pilot, but only if Dixon stayed faithful. Dixon now says that it was never a real chance and was just another way to trick him into staying quiet. The lawsuit says that Mr. Perry wanted a relationship with a guy who would not say anything, which his money and power could not buy. Just that line makes people question everything. Dixon finally told the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission about Perry's actions in June 2024, saying that they identified him with PTSD and that he had to leave the Oval because the emotional and mental toll was too much for him to handle. Perry isn't the only one being sued. Dixon also names Tyler Perry Studios and TPS Production Services as co-defendants and says they hired, supervised, and kept employees without due care. There is only one person who is accused of the physical and verbal abuse, but it is clear from the report that the system around him allowed it to happen. The case paints Perry not only as a powerful businessman, but also as someone who allegedly used his power to trick, silence, and control people who trusted him. This is one of the most shocking parts of the lawsuit. Dixon isn't holding back when he talks about Tyler Perry. He says that she is like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Sean Diddy Combs, Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes, and other famous people who lost a lot of power. The lawsuit says that Mr. Perry thinks that money and power can get him anything he wants because of his success. But Tyler Perry's lawyers came out strong.
Matthew Boyd, his lawyer, put out a public statement saying, "This is someone who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam." Boyd also said, "Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident that these false claims will fail. There is a lot of pushback, but that's the case. Since the case is now public, Perry may have to go to court for the first time in his career to answer these serious, unless it is thrown out or settled behind closed doors. That's really big." Also, Alfonso Ribeiro hasn't been in a written TV show in over 10 years. Fans always thought that he chose to host instead of taking on another risky typecast part because he wanted a quieter family life, or because he liked it better. Things were not as smooth as they seemed on the game show though. As we all know, Hollywood is not always a safe place to be quiet. It can be a way to stay alive. You can tell Alfonso is used to the politics. After Fresh Prince, he was stuck with a figure that everyone loved, but no one in the business would look past. His role in Carlton made him rich, but it kept him from getting parts in important movies. When Alfonso tried to get back into the business in the 2000s, he quickly learned that ability wasn't enough to get back in. In the end, one of his close friends said that Alfonso knew exactly what was going on behind closed studio doors, and chose to leave rather than get involved in something that would cost him more than it was worth. When people in your field want you to be quiet, sometimes taking a step back is the greatest thing.